welcome you guys to my 10th grade portfolio defense in order for me to move on to 11th grade. I would like to start off by introducing myself. My name is Isaiah Pule and I'm in the 10th grade attending Kamaile Academy. Where I come from, I am from Waianae, Hawaii. I am from Kamaile Academy. I am from Noreen Miter and Orson Wilcox. I am from Charlene and Eric Pule, and I am from Great Success. My claim that I formed in order for me to move on to the 11th grade is that from the 9th grade to the 10th grade, I've shown a lot of progress, and I've shown that I grew a lot. In the 9th grade, I really didn't care about the work I was completing. I cared a lot of what I did, but I kept an average grade, and I just turned in the work that was needed to be done. But now as a 10th grader, I turn in quality work, and I try my best on the work that I create. And I feel like I can make the same progress when I go into the 11th grade, from switching to 10th to 11th, or even more of a progress. The second artifact that I chose that we did throughout my 10th grade year is my Pearl Harbor essay. This artifact was assigned on February 21st, 2011. And the purpose of this artifact was to help me gain more knowledge about Pearl Harbor. It also helped me to gain more knowledge about my background area on where I come from, as in Oahu, Hawaii, and Pearl Harbor was in Oahu. So it also helped me to develop my writing abilities and also helped me to develop any academic skills I used during the process of making that artifact. In order for me to complete this artifact, I had to use research and I had to analyze the research that I was doing. So while I was on top of the laptop, when we had to do this assignment, was an independent assignment that we had to research on our own. Research that I found on top of the laptop was really complex material, so I had to really break it down and analyze what I was reading and still put it into my own words, and also cite that into my essay so it doesn't cause plagiarism. Academic skills that I had to use to form this artifact was being able to form a claim and being able to back up that claim. And in order for me to complete this artifact, I also had to use my due dates as best as I could. When we was given a due date to turn in a rough draft of our essay, I turned it in on time. I tried to turn it in on time because it will help me to finish my final essay, so I can revise it throughout the process of creating the final essay. And doing this artifact helped me become an expert in the field of research and an expert in the field of analyzing the complex materials I was doing, and also an expert in writing up an essay, so it could benefit me in my language arts class because we write a lot, and this was a practice for that class. Major leadership skill I had to use to complete this artifact was responsibility. I had to be responsible in completing my work and also using my time wisely and not talking to my peers when we are given time to work on top of it. I realized how much I've grown from the beginning of this year. I didn't really knew how to form a claim and how to back it up with evidence the correct way. In the beginning of the year, all of my essay was basically jumping around into different points. I didn't really get into what my topic was, and it seemed confusing, but now I know how to do it organized. I know how to create an essay by creating an introduction and forming a claim, then backing up with evidence in the body and coming to a conclusion, then people believing, knowing something different. To come to conclusion, I can tell you that I am still growing, I am still making progress, and I know that I can become a great successor in life. And thank you for your guys' attention. And we will now open up to questions.
Isaiah, you are in charge of the room.
Isaiah, could you talk about your strategies or your plan for like academic improvement next year and moving on to 12th grade so that you can have that successful life you were talking about?
The academics improvement for a plan that I really want to do is to focus on the little stuff or even the major stuff that I might be doing wrong currently. Like, for an example, still creating an essay or still creating a organized form paper. In order for me for college, I know that I'll have to write a lot, and in the 11th grade, I'm hoping that I can be able to come to draw more evidence in creating a bigger form of to help support my claim, and also any academic skills like basic grammar or small minor spelling mistakes. It could help me in the future, so I can be more professional in my presentation and also my essays or anything else.
I love that you talked about how you feel like part of your growth is that you are able to form a claim and support it with evidence. And I'd love for you to talk a little bit about how you believe you supported your claim.
My claim is that I can show progress from what I did from the 9th to 10th grade, the same progress or even more progress from what I'll be doing from 10th to 11th grade. I want to show that I am still growing up and I still can take in what I learned from high school to affect me in the future life. And basically my claim is that I am very smart and I am able to use the things I learned in high school into my afterlife or what I do outside of school.
So can you talk a little bit about what evidence you provided that is true in your presentation?
For an example, the Pearl Harbor poem, the Pearl Harbor essay. By me creating that essay, it made me realize basic history and how our essential question right now is, what is the cost of forgetting the past? That was our last quarter. What is the cost of forgetting the past? And if you forgot the past, then you're doomed to create the mistake again in the future. So it's better to learn what you did in the past and help you to improve on it or better yourself in the future. So the mistakes that I created in the 9th grade and what I did in the 10th grade, I hope that I can better myself in the 11th grade and show that I can progress myself.
Great, thank you.
I'm just trying to get at how you even just discussed that you had to determine fact from opinion and that kind of thing. I just want one example of where you read something and then you actually had to decide, yes, this is fact, or yes, this was opinion, and how you put that into your paper.
It couldn't be something that I read off of online. It could be a video that I watched. For an example, a Pearl Harbor survivor, the words he was saying and his imagery of what Pearl Harbor actually was, like the bombing and how descriptive he was. The words that he was saying, I had to break down and put into words or into another imagery where people will focus on more and have more of a broader image in their head to see how effective Pearl Harbor was instead of the words that he was using, and I just expanded more off of him.
So, as we were mentioning before, you and one part of your claim was that you were a master in research, and you talked about sort of the process of research and facts and opinion. Can you tell me what the different types of sources there are in research, and which one you find to be more reliable?
Things that I find to be more reliable is something when you look at the URL when it ends at .gov or .edu, because you look at it, I look at the site and I know that it's fact because .edu's educational purposes, and I know that it was studied and it's an education-based site, so I can use it to help inside of my work that I'm trying to complete. Or .gov, like the government actually studied it, or actually came from the government on what happened, so it could help me. That's a great site instead of a random other sites like .com. It's used a lot of times. You don't know if it's actually citable or it's actually good evidence.
On your poem, you talked about you've talked about this word parallelism, which is a really impressive word to throw around. I think a lot of people don't know that word. So could you, I know you talked about how you thought that parallelism engages the audience, but can you give us a definition? So if I had never heard that word, what is parallelism? And then what other sort of writing techniques did you use in your poem to engage the audience and to convey what you were trying to convey?
Parallelism is basically a statement that you're trying to claim. Like it's reusing a sentence to make your statement stronger. For an example, Martin Luther King Jr. speech, he used parallelism a lot inside of that speech because it really stuck out to a lot of people. And his most significant, I would say, parallelism that stuck out to many people was "I have a dream." So that parallelism, I used it into my poem, but as in where I come from or I am from. So I use that parallelism to help make my poem stronger, just like Martin Luther King Jr. speech.
So part of what you learned and what you're doing in the portfolio defense is applying these skills. Could you give me an example of how you may have applied the skill of parallelism to another content area or your life?
That is awesome. Inside my two artifacts, my where I'm from poem was before my Pearl Harbor essay, and the material that I learned from my where I'm from poem, I used it into my Pearl Harbor essay because of parallelism. And inside my Pearl Harbor essay, I used parallelism to make the statements I was trying to get through stronger by using, in my essay, in every paragraph, on December 14, 1941, December 7, 1941, I used that in every paragraph to show people the actual date on what happened, and I backed it up on what actually happened, like events that happened on that day, to show people how tragic of an event that was.